When you're multiplying decimal numbers, you're going to set up the problem just like you would a regular multiplication problem. And you're going to work it just like you would a regular multiplication problem. For example, looking at the problem at the bottom, at first I'm going to absolutely ignore those decimal points, and I'm just going to pretend like this is 749 times 6. I'm going to work it just like I would any other problem. And I would end up with 4494. Now, when you get your answer, you're going to count the total number of digits to the right of the decimal in both factors, and then place the decimal in your product or your answer that many places from the right end. For example, in this first number, if I were to find the decimal point, I would go to the right and count 1, 2, 3. There are 3 digits to the right of the decimal point. And then I'm going to go to my next factor, and I'm going to see that there's 1 digit there to the right of the decimal point. So I had 3 here and 1 there, so that makes 4. So I need a total of 4 digits to the right of the decimal point here. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I put my decimal point. And that's it. So let's work some of these problems. I'm going to start out with 1.76 times 4, and then the decimal point, 3. Totally ignoring those decimals. I have 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus the 1 up top is 22. Carry the 2. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus the 2 is 5. I'm moving to the next place value, so I'm going to put my 0 down to hold the place. 4 times 6 is 24. Carry the 2. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus the 2 is 30. Carry the 3. 4 times 1 is 4, plus that 3 is 7. And I'm going to add and get 8, 6, 5, 7. I'm going to go back up into my factors, and I'm going to see that I have 1, 2, 3 digits total to the right of the decimal point. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3 places in my product and put my decimal point. And then my final answer would be 7 and 568 thousandths. Now let's look at this next one. Decimal 0.1 times decimal 0.1. Now this may look easy at first, and then it starts to look a little complicated, but it's really not. Let's just pretend like it's 1 times 1. Well, that's simple. That's 1. But then I need to go back up into my factors, and I have 1 digit here and 1 digit here. That's 2. 1 digit here, 1 digit here. That's 2 more, so 2 and 2 is 4. Now, I need to take my decimal point 4 places. So if I said 1, well, there's nothing there. Let's pretend 2, 3, 4, and I put my decimal point, but I'm going to have to say, well, there was nothing there, and nothing is 0. So if I put those zeros there, and I had started here, I would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. And so then my answer would look like that. So we know that division is the opposite of multiplication. So if I'm doing the opposite from what I just did with the multiplication, I ignored the decimal and then worried about it last. Well, the opposite of that would be to worry about the decimal first and then just do your regular old division. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to take care of the decimal points first in our division and then just divide. So when you divide the decimal numbers, you must move the decimal point in the divisor. That's the number that you're dividing by. It's the one that's on the outside. And you move that to the right of the divisor. So we're going to move it to where it's basically out of the way. And then you must move the decimal point in the dividend, it's the number underneath, the same number of places to the right that you moved your divisor. And then, once you have moved the decimal over in the divisor and the dividend, all you have to do is carry it straight up into your quotient or your answer, and then you're ready to divide just like you would with the whole number. So let's look at these real quick. In order to get rid of that, to move it all the way over, I needed to move it one place. Well, if I moved it one place there, remember that when we always do something to one side, we have to do it to the other. So if I moved it one place here, then I have to go into my dividend and move it one place, and then just take it straight up. In this divisor, to get rid of it, I had to move it 1, 2, 3 places. Well, to be fair, I have to go to the dividend and move it 3 places. 1, 2, 3, and then take it straight up. Now, in this divisor, there is no decimal. So I just go into the dividend. I don't have to move it. So I just take it straight up. And that's it. Now that we have those decimal points out of the way, then this one would just look like a 34. This one would look like 576 and then the 9/10. This one would look like 213 and 8,100. And this would look like the 7 and the 63. And so now we're ready to just divide. Okay, so let's try some. In my first problem, I see 69 hundredths divided by 3/10. But the first thing is I need to get rid of the decimal. So I'm going to move this one over one place. And if I move it over once there, I've got to go in here, move it over, and then go straight up. Now I'm going to totally ignore it. And I'm going to pretend like I have 6 divided by 3. That goes in there 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract. Bring down my 9. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. So my answer is 2 3/10. My next problem, I need to take my decimal over 2 places. So I'm going to go over 2 places here. 1, 2. Well, there's nothing there. So I need to, remember, if there's nothing there, I need to put some zeros in. So I'm going to have a 0 there. And then I'm just going to go straight up with that decimal point. And then I'm going to pretend like it's not even, there's no decimal point at all. I have 1,640 divided by 82. Well, if I have 1, can I share that with 82? No. What if I have 16? Can I share 16 with 82? No. What about 164? Yes. Well, I can see that if I doubled the 8, I would get 16, and if I doubled the 2, I would get 4. So to me, that would mean that 82 goes into 164 2 times. So 2 times 82 would be 164. Subtract and get 0, but I'm not finished. I have to bring down that 0. How many times does 82 go into 0? It would be 0. And so my answer here would be 20. My next problem, I need to take my decimal over one place. And when I look over here, I don't have a decimal, but actually I do know that it's there. It's just understood, so I'm going to take it over one place. And that means that in this spot, in that empty spot, I need a 0. And then from there, I'm just going to take it, the decimal, straight up into my answer. And so now I actually have 2,800 divided by 14. So how many times will 14 go into 28? Well, I can see real quick that I can double that. And so 2 times 14 is 28. Subtract, get 0. But I'm not finished. I've got to bring down that 0. Well, 14 doesn't go into 0. Bring down that 0. 14 doesn't go into 0. So my final answer would be 200.